everyone. For this Music Talk Tuesday, I am going to be discussing various songs that have the weekday or day of the week in the title or is associated with the song. And I am going to try to mix this in with genre, like I said earlier in my channel update video. So it will culminate both these aspects sort of together, because a lot of the songs that I'll be mentioning are sort of from different eras and have different sort of styles and how they're presented. So without further ado, let me discuss some of the ones that I find to be the most enjoyable. The first one that I'm going to discuss, and I'm going to kind of go in order from the days of the week, starting with Monday. And this song is called Maniac Monday by the Bangles. And this was made in 1986, or at least released in 1986. And it has a very upbeat attitude, surprisingly, for a song that deals with Monday, because usually people associate Monday with the day of the week where you basically start everything all over again and you start from scratch and go on to doing your regular routine. So it's kind of ironic in that sense that the Bangles chose to make it very lively and energetic, as opposed to other songs that involve Monday, like the Mamas and the Papas, whose Monday song is so like draining and boring. So I thought I would choose this one in particular for Monday because it takes itself not as seriously, but despite it being upbeat, it also does have this kind of hectic vibe to it, especially with the piano playing and how it goes very fast, and you could feel like the adrenaline that's going through the person as she's, expressing the emotions that are associated with Monday and how she's singing the lyrics of the song. So it does present this kind of interesting, kind of ironic approach, because on the one hand it's so upbeat and so lively, but at the same time it is so hectic and so fast-paced. And basically throughout the song, the singer is discussing basically sort of her routine sort of on Monday, like, I gotta catch an early train, I gotta go to work, I gotta do this, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna wear. It's basically just jumping from one end to the other, and she just wishes that Monday wasn't really here, because everything's piling on to you at once again. It's sort of, Monday's seen as a very repetitious kind of back to the life I guess you could say, or the routine life, as opposed to the fun and interesting life that occurs over the weekend. So it does have this interesting way of approaching Monday that I think a lot of the songs that I was researching that discussed Monday did not have that similar approach, and I thought it was really cool how this song tried to take a very upbeat, ironic approach to it, but also enforcing that hectic nature of Monday of, I need to go back, I need to switch gears now. I'm no longer focused on my life on the weekend. I'm focused now on going back to the routine. And I think the song really does emphasize this, and she sort of has this kind of longing of, you'll see in the lyrics of how she wants to go back to, Sunday. Like, she even says, that's my fun day. I don't really want to be in this routine, but it's just something that I have to do, because that's just kind of a part of life. So, another interesting thing about this song, too, is that it was actually written by Prince, but he did give the sort of rights to the Bangles to, I guess, produce the song and make the song. So I thought that was something that was really interesting. That I wouldn't think out of all of the people that would write a song about Monday that Prince would be the artist that would, but apparently he did write this song. And I like how it is very 80s. It does have that poppy sort of feel to it. You can tell that it is representative sort of the era of music, as well as the genre of being very just lively and just poppy and sort of in your face. Um, and I really like that sort of approach because it's a different approach as opposed to a more traditional style of the way people look at Monday, which is, okay, I have to go and get up and get dressed and go to work and come home, and that's Monday. So I really like this approach, and I think it's very unique, and that's why I would recommend this song in particular. The next song I want to discuss is a little bit different, and this involves Tuesday, and the song is called Tuesday Afternoon by the Moody Blues. I find this song really interesting because it approaches this Tuesday as very relaxing, very soothing, but also kind of entrancing, sort of psychedelic in a way. This was like made in the later 60s, so you can kind of see the genre sort of slipping in there with how it sounds and how it's just very trippy and out there, and it's still sort of relaxed and soothing at times. But I think it approaches the day of the week as sort of as something as not so significant, like the Bangles with their song and how Monday, we do represent Monday as this one particular day. But the person who sings the Moody Blues song, Justin Hayward, he sings it in such a way that's just very, it's just another day, and I'm just here, and it happens to be Tuesday, and it's an afternoon, and I'm just sitting here enjoying the scenery. And you'll see how in the song there's sort of an emphasis on nature and with the clouds and the trees, and it's all very just, kind of spiritual, in tune. And I sort of like that approach, that it doesn't take itself, again, so seriously, and it kind of does it, though, in a different way than what the Bangles song does. It does it to a point where the day isn't significant, but I do remember that it was, and that's even what Justin Hayward said when he wrote it. He said, yeah, it was just a random Tuesday afternoon, and I was just, by, I guess, his house in England, and I guess it was during the springtime, and it was just so pretty, he said, that it just came sort of naturally to him. And the song does feel fairly natural, and you do feel like when you hear it that, there maybe are some trees that are like sort of blowing, their leaves are blowing in the wind, and there's like the sunshine, and it does feel very it just feels very entrancing in that respect. And you can argue too that the Moody Blues does have that very entrancing style. Like, you will see that throughout a lot of their songs. They have this kind of way of sucking the audience in by entrancing them, sort of, with just how just out there the sound is. But I do like how this song in particular doesn't take itself so seriously and just kind of relaxes and gives a picture of Tuesday that is maybe not as specific. And I kind of think too that Tuesday sort of reflects a day when you have all of the hectic energy that is spilled onto you Monday, and then Tuesday maybe just kind of slows down a little, because once Monday starts setting in and you've already experienced Monday, going into Tuesday, it's maybe a lot easier. I guess that's the way I sort of interpret it, like thinking of Tuesday as a day of the week. But but in particular, I find this one to be very enjoyable and sort of reflects, I think, the tone that the Moody Blues were trying to go for. So I think that's definitely a song that's worth recommending. Another song that I would like to recommend is Simon and Garfunkel's song that's called Wednesday Morning, 3 a.m. Now, the interesting thing about this song is that unlike the other two previous songs that do mention the day of the week within the song, Simon and Garfunkel do not mention Wednesday morning, 3 a.m. at all in the entire song. Like, the song is not, or the words aren't even brought up. But what it does bring up is what's going on during that time. And what's going on during that time is that there's this man who's with this woman, and he's thinking about things that he's done that are not necessarily as good, and he's sort of thinking about how that sort of affects his life. And it just happens to be Wednesday morning, 3 a.m. because really they do emphasize sort of that the time is what the title of the song is, especially when towards the end of the song when it says the morning is just a few hours away. So if you're thinking, okay, it's 3 a.m., few hours, that's 3 hours, that means after 3 hours it's 6 a.m., which is technically means it's the morning. So I think there is this sort of emphasis within the song of trying to make it, yeah, it's about the day of the week, but it's about what's going on within that day of the week. That's the most important. Instead of the other two songs where I feel like they were trying to emphasize more with the feelings of the day of the week. So it's a very gentle and soothing song. It's very folky in its sound. It was made in 1964, so this is the earlier 60s, where it's a little bit more focused in on the acoustic, at least I feel. So it has that kind of just simple approach to not really using a lot of, at least I don't believe there's really a lot of instruments that they use, but it's simplistic, and I think it gets across its message really well by just being that, having that simplicity. And I like how Simon and Garfunkel executed that. And I think it's one of their more like underrated songs. Like nobody really talks about that one song, and it just feels so. It just has this soothing nature that you feel like you're at this time and place, and you might think about something that's in your life that sort of reflects maybe not necessarily what's going on in the song, but the kind of emotions that that the person might be feeling as Simon and Garfunkel are sort of displaying the lyrics out. So, in the form of singing. So, I guess that's really ultimately, though, all I can say about that song in particular. But it's simple, and it's interesting because it doesn't try to center it so much on the day of the week and the feelings associated with, but rather just the time that is taking place, and it happens to take place on a Wednesday morning at 3 a.m. So, I have to skip Thursday, unfortunately, because I don't have a song that I found that has Thursday in the title that I was like, oh yeah, I definitely want to put this in my list. There weren't any songs that I found to be as appealing or as good, so I had to skip Thursday, unfortunately, but I will move on directly to Friday. And basically Friday is pretty much a famous one that a lot of people, I think, have heard of, and it's by The Cure, and it's called Friday I'm in Love. This song has been played in numerous films. It's been played on the radio, I think, a lot over the years. And the interesting thing is it came out in the 90s, in 1992, and The Cure is considered an alternative rock band, but I always found them to sound so 80s, like their style seemed to reflect the 80s a lot. But I think that's because since there's always like these generational like overlaps, and where, you know, some things that come out maybe in the early 90s sound a little bit more like the 80s. And, you know, that's the same with fashion, too. Like, you'll see how sometimes in the 90s, maybe 90s movies, some people are wearing still, like, the 80s type clothing, and you're wondering why they're wearing 80s type clothing. But I think these kinds of decades sort of cross each other at times. And I think The Cure's Friday I'm in Love song is a perfect example of that, because although it is alternative rock, and although it does have its own unique sound and it's trying to be something else, I still find it to kind of associate more with the 80s era, because it just sounds so like something that would come out of that decade. But regardless of that, there's a lot to enjoy about this song, in particular how exciting and how upbeat and energetic it is. And not in a hectic way like Manic Monday is, but in a way that's very just happy. Just happy that it's Friday. And it really does give off the feeling of having that day of the week come. Because everybody is looking forward to Fridays. Everybody enjoys Fridays. I don't think there's anybody who's a Scrooge when it comes to Fridays. I don't know if maybe Scrooge would be a Scrooge on a Friday if it meant that Christmas was on a Friday, but regardless, Fridays are the day that people look forward to the most, because it's where their life A ends and then their life B can start, and where they can enjoy themselves and be happy and spend time with the people that they actually care about. You know, they don't have to go to work, they don't have to overstrain themselves. They don't have to feel like they have to be constantly on something. They can just breathe and feel human. And I think that's really what this song was trying to get across. And it even discusses it within the song, you know, I don't care if Monday's black, Tuesday, Wednesday, heart attack, Thursday, never looking back, it's Friday, I'm in love. Like, I don't care about what, you know, it's all the stress and all of the whatever else that comes through life throughout the week. That doesn't matter, because now it's Friday and I can enjoy myself and I can be happy. Because all of the stress and all of the hectic nature of my week is worth having those precious moments on Friday. And I think a lot of people really got that aspect and really embraced this song because of it. And I think The Cure just nailed it on the head when it came to this, because they understood what Friday means to people. And I think they fully embraced it and said, you know what, this is what we're going to write our song about. And I think it works. So I guess that's really ultimately all I can say about that one. Now, the next song, which is the second to last song that I will be mentioning, is by Sam Cooke, and it's, or Cooke, or Cook, I don't know if the E is silent, but it's called Another Saturday Night. The interesting thing is I actually didn't hear the original version of this song, which is by Sam Cooke. I actually heard the Cat Stevens version, which is a different version, but they sound fairly similar. They're just done in sort of a different style. Cat Stevens, I think, is a little bit more jazzy, and Sam Cooke's song is a little bit more R&B, old school. So, this song has an interesting approach to Saturday, and it's not something that we would traditionally think of Saturdays. It basically revolves around a particular person, being the narrator, the person singing. And basically, he sings about how it's just another Saturday night, and he doesn't have anybody. He doesn't have anybody to share his Saturday with. He's got money. it mentions it within the song, like, yeah, I just got paid, but I don't have anyone to spend it with the time on Saturday. I don't have people that I can associate with or enjoy my Saturday with. I'm just alone. And it does it in such kind of an ironic way, like it doesn't sound very draining or, yeah, it's just another Saturday night, flipping through the television, just another Saturday night. It says it in such an upbeat way. It's like, another Saturday night. And he just sings it with like such a carefree kind of attitude. But I think there's sort of that kind of comedic irony sort of to it, like, haha, yeah, another Saturday by myself with no one around me, and ha, now this is great. This is great, yeah. So you really do sympathize though with the person who's talking, because I think a lot of people have felt like that on the weekends, where maybe they don't have anything going on and they don't have anyone to spend time with, and they're just by themselves, and it's just how they are in this stage of life. So I think the song does a good job of sort of executing that, but doing it in such a way where, again, it doesn't really take itself seriously. It just kind of says, just another Saturday night and I don't have anybody. I wish I did. I wish I could go and, spend money, and, mostly he's discussing a woman that he could take out and spend money on because he doesn't have anyone. So I just find that interesting how there's, there's this sense for him in the lyrics to kind of share, his life with someone. And it's kind of just ironic in how it approaches itself, but it's I think a really interesting song with how it approaches that aspect. So I find it interesting, and I find it definitely worth recommending, as well as the Cat Stevens version. I guess I could post both, but I am mentioning Sam Cooke's name because he was really the first one who wrote it, and they pretty much sound almost the same. It's just Cat Stevens adds a little bit more into it and maybe changes things a little bit up, but they're pretty much sort of the same message, and then like the same kind of tone, I feel. It's just they're done in different kinds of genres of music, sort of, so you get like a different kind of sound at times. So that's, I think, all I can say about that song. And the last song is a song about Sunday, and this is actually an older song by Maroon 5. In 2004 it came out, and it's called Sunday Morning. Now, I don't really care for a lot of Maroon 5's music currently. I think they completely changed their whole approach to music, and for some reason it just doesn't gravitate to me as much, because I feel like a lot of it sounds the same now. But I do really enjoy this song in particular. I like how it sounds like a song that you could wake up to in the morning. And it doesn't really matter if it is a Sunday morning or not, but you do feel that sense of passion and that sense of looking forward to the day. And I think a lot of people enjoy Sundays because it's relaxing. You can just kind of chill out, and this song does have this kind of chillaxed, jazzy feel to it, but then it does get a little bit more energized and a little bit more a little bit more louder and intense as the song goes on. But it's done with, I think, a lot of passion and a lot of enthusiasm. So usually that's ironic, I think, too, because usually Sundays people think like, yeah, it's a Sunday, I'm just sitting here, I'm just kind of just chilling out, not really doing anything. It's Sunday. What are you supposed to do Sundays? You have to get ready for Monday. Might as well just relax for this last day of solitude. But it approaches it in a different way, like saying, like, go out there and do something on Sunday. It kind of has that get up in the morning, go have fun and do something. And even within the lyrics, there is this sense of kind of passion of wanting to spend time with people, wanting to be in a good place. And I think you can interpret the lyrics however you wish to interpret them, because they are kind of more loose compared to a lot of the other songs that I've been mentioning that are a little bit more focused in on trying to get a message across. I think this one is sort of broad into what that interpretation is. So I find this one to be very interesting, and I think it's definitely worth recommending because it's just very enjoyable and just very, very happy in how it tries to express itself. And it does Sunday in a different way than I think a lot of the other songs that have involved Sunday have done, which is take a really lazy, laid-back approach. And this one takes a sort of laid-back approach, but it brings out energy and brings out passion. So I think that's ultimately all I can say about these songs. I'll be sure to put all links to them in the description in case anybody wants to check them out. I hope that you enjoyed this Music Talk Tuesday. I'm going to be doing more, and I hope that it all is good, and I hope that you all enjoy your Tuesday and that you enjoy the rest of your week, and I hope to see you in the next video.